lot of people are taking shots at Aaron Boone for pulling Schlittler as early as he did. Now, Schlittler could have been pulled in the 5th inning. He went out there. A lot of people thought they were pulling him. He kept them in, and he got out of that inning. He came out, and he did what he needed to do as a starting pitcher. They rest assured to him that they were going to give him an opportunity to get out of that inning, and he did in the 5th inning. And then as he moved forward in the 6th inning, he fell into trouble again, giving up a hit and putting a man in a position where we knew that one way or another we're going to steal second, and they were going to play small ball, which the Blue Jays love to do. They're an offensive team. They're not really a defensive team. Throughout this season, they've had good pitching up and down. Their defense has been up and down. In this series, they've been up and down. If you remember the last game they played against the Yankees, honestly, the Blue Jays should have won that game. It was 6-1. There was no way the Yankees had any breathing room. And Aaron Judge hit that 3-run shot, which absolutely was remarkable. Everybody sitting here, I'm going to give a shout-out and attack by the WFAN guys, because when I was in Orlando listening to that garbage, and I'm going to just say it, Sal Licata.
Of course.
Sal friggin' Licata, all right? He came out and said the series is over for the Blue Jays. They're going to choke. The Yankees are going to run away with this series. There's no chance the Blue Jays are going to come back and win this series, even though they were up 2-1 and they still were in the driver's seat. He said there's no way the Yankees lose this series. Boy, Licata, I would love, and I didn't listen to his show today because I didn't want to hear it. It's absolute ridiculousness. I didn't want to hear it. The fact here is there's a lot of people to blame here, but there's one guy you can't blame. There's one guy you cannot diminish what he has done throughout this playoff run in 2025, and that's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, in this playoff run, was hitting .500 throughout the playoffs. Now, everybody's come out and said that Aaron Judge isn't a playoff player. He can't do it in the big game. He couldn't do it in the World Series. He couldn't do it here. He couldn't do it there. He goes into these hitting slumps where he can't hit home runs for 15, 20 games. This guy is not the real deal. This guy is not a money player. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this guy was the best hitter in baseball this year. He was the best hitter in baseball last year. He was the best hitter in baseball the year before that. This guy is by far the best player in baseball, and you can't take that away from him. I have to crush this guy. Jazz Chisholm is a complete moron, okay? The whole season, since the home run derby, after the home run derby, only hitting 3 home runs in the home run derby, embarrassing himself as he did in the home run derby, and coming out and saying, we're still the best defensive team in the MLB. We're still the best team in the American League. Heck, we're going to go to the World Series this year. That's what Jazz Chisholm said to all you fans out there, all you blind Yankee fans, that I knew if there was somebody that was going to screw this up, it was going to be that idiot, that moron. And boy, did he do it in such great fashion. Such great fashion. Ladies and gentlemen, a guy that is a pretty good defensive player. We could say that. We can argue he is one of the better second basemen in the league. And in the big game, and everybody wants to give Jazz Chisholm all the credit in the world because of game number 3. Do we remember the hit that he had? Oh, I'm sorry, the home run that he had? And everybody was like, oh my God, Jazz going to be going. He's been great. Yeah, he showed everybody what he can do in the big game. Choke, choke, choke. And what is everybody doing? Or what are the fans doing on social media right now? They're not blaming Jazz. Give Jazz his money. Nobody's attacking Aaron Judge. They shouldn't. Nobody's going to attack Bellinger. Was he good in this series? Not really. Nobody was really good in this series, including Giancarlo Stanton, who finally hit a home run in the playoffs. And it was against the Blue Jays.
Errol, I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. Good is not even close. Judge hit 500, right?
Yep.
The worst hitting team in baseball this year was the Pirates at 231. What do you think the rest of the team, if your name wasn't Aaron Judge, hit combined? 220.
That's how bad I thought the Yankees were offensively. They looked abysmal. And this Blue Jays pitching squad, and I want to hear about Kevin Gossman, who everybody said this guy is an absolute beast and great starting pitcher. And we could go on and on about the youngster that had 11 strikeouts in game number 2. We can go on and on about the Blue Jays and what they did. And by the way, Schneider deserves a little bit more credit than people are giving him. They wanted to attack him in game number 3 because he made the wrong decisions on the pitching and some of the rotation of bringing in guys off the bench and saying that Schneider should have shut him down and Schneider should really stuck it to the Yankees in the early innings so the Yankees had no breathing room. Schneider showed you why his Blue Jays are heading on to the ALCS. And the Yankees are going home and hanging out with their kids and playing golf and wondering who are they going to bring back next year? Is it going to be Bellinger? Are they going to go after Kyle Tucker? Are they going to go bring in some more pitching? I don't know what they're going to do. I know Garrett Cole will be back at one point sometime next year, but who knows? Schlittler, I know every Yankee fan's jumping for joy. We love what we see. He's 22 years old. He's special. And we'll see because he's going to go into his sophomore year next year. This is going to be a full season up in the big leagues. A lot of pressure on him. Fans are going to really stick it to him and expect him to go out there and be an Andy Pettitte, Garrett Cole-like player. I'm going to tell you this, what Schlittler did not do a lot in game number 4 that probably was costly for him. And I'm not saying he was bad. I'm just saying he didn't throw any off-speed pitches. It was all fastballs. Practically all 6 innings, I think he threw if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 6 off-speed pitches.
He gave up 2 runs.
I understand that. But you're not going to be able to do that for the rest of your career and expect to be as good as you were this year. Not a lot of these teams seen you. I know the Blue Jays did, but a lot of these teams didn't really see him enough. There's not enough video. There's not enough film of him. Now teams are going to study him. The economic, or whatever we call it, the analytics are going to be out on him. And they're going to figure him out. So he's going to have to figure out how to throw that changeup. He's going to have to figure out when he's going to throw that curveball. And he's going to have to figure out when he should use those off-speed pitches. But I'm not attacking the way he pitched. I have to look at the game as an analyst. And I'm analyzing what I saw. And it doesn't mean that I don't think Schlittler is going to be good, or I don't think the Yankees don't have somebody and something special in Schlittler. He's a bona fide number 1. And going into next year, the Yankees have 3 bona fide number 1s now. If you think about it, you have Garrett Cole.
4, technically.
Well, Rodon, I don't know what you call him, but
won 18 games, bro.
Yeah, he won 18 games, and when the going gets tough, and when it comes to the big games, the guy completely disappears. And we've seen this before, not just with the Yankees.
So Clayton Kershaw's not an ace?
I didn't say Clayton Kershaw is not an ace. But Clayton Kershaw.
But you're comparing.
Clayton Kershaw's not a good playoff pitcher.
Wins and then win the big game.
No, he doesn't win the big game. And if you were to ask me right now, is Clayton Kershaw going to make? Ace? I'm telling you, Clayton Kershaw. If you were going to look at his analytics in the playoffs and consider him a Hall of Famer, if he wasn't as great as he was in the regular season, he is definitely not a Hall of Famer. Definitely not. Clayton Kershaw, if you look at what he has done as a left-handed power pitcher and had probably the best curveball I've ever seen a left-hander throw, he was bad in the playoffs. He was just bad. And if you're going to tell me right now...
So you're saying you're a Hall of Famer if you just are great in the playoffs? Like, you don't have to be good in the regular season?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying right now, if you were to tell me Clayton Kershaw, if he was sensational in the playoffs and he wasn't really good in his career in the regular season, he is not a Hall of Famer. In 162 games, and you're winning an average of 18 to 20 games a season for 7 years in a row, and with a 1-point ERA or something, 1.63 or a low 2, and he's strikeouts over 300 almost every single year, yeah, you're a Hall of Famer. That's the way baseball works. But if you're going to tell me right now what Kershaw did in the playoffs in his career, and you're going to say if he didn't do that in the regular season and he did that in the playoffs, he did as dominant as we've seen some of the Yankee pitchers over the years, like an Andy Pettitte did in the playoffs, he's all of it. And Andy Pettitte was good in the regular season, and he was good in the playoffs. Even more dominant in the playoffs. When it going gets tough, you want to give Andy Pettitte the baseball. 1996 when the Yankees were down. Do we remember 2-0 against the Braves? Who got the ball? Andy Pettitte. And maybe Schlittler.
So is Andy Pettitte an ace?
Andy Pettitte is as good an ace as the Yankees have had in 25 years, in my eyes. And that goes for Garrett Cole, because as good as Garrett Cole is, Garrett Cole's had one good playoff run with the Yankees. One good playoff run, and that was last year. If you ask me right now, Andy Pettitte every single year, every single playoff run, Andy Pettitte, the Yankees, and yes, your man, Joe Torre, went to Andy. He did. He always went to Andy when he needed an out or he needed somebody. I saw Andy Pettitte come out of the bullpen in some games in the late 90s. He did whatever Joe Torre wanted him to do. And that's why Andy Pettitte is one of the greatest Yankees of all time. And you heard it from me. Top 10 greatest Yankees of all time. Coming from me, who watches the Yankees religiously since the day I was 86. It was the first time I watched a Yankee game. I knew what the Yankees were, and I was a diehard Don Mattingly fan. I'm just saying the truth here.
Top 10 like pitcher or like just Yankee in general?
Yankee. Top 10 Yankee of all time. Andy Pettitte is a Hall of Famer. He is a Hall of Famer, and the fact that he did HGH and he admitted to it, to me, should absolutely put him into the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. I've said this many, many times. Sammy Sosa, I don't know. Because if you look at Sammy's numbers before he did steroids, he wasn't that good. Mark McGwire was a good player before he did steroids. The fact here is, I absolutely agree with Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez. Absolutely agree. This is Brian Cashman's fault. It's his fault. You could say whatever you want. He thought Jazz Chisholm was the guy. He thought that Jazzy was going to make the plays that he needed to make in certain games. And this wasn't the first time he made a mistake in the playoffs. This was the third time. The third time in this playoff run, he made a mistake. A selfish mistake. And by the way, after the fact, the game before, which the Yankees won, him yawning after making a mistake was pathetic. Absolute patheticness by the one and only, who I call Jazz Chisholm. He's an idiot, he's a moron, and he doesn't belong on this team. And if the Yankees pay him, they're making a big mistake. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. He is not a Yankee. He's not. Yankee fans, stop it. I am drawn out of the thought that any Yankee fan believes that this man is and should be a guy that should be getting $160 million as a contract. I don't get it. I don't get any Yankee fan that believes this guy is worth a bit of that money that the Yankees are going to dish out to even Bellinger, who was great in the regular season, but didn't show up in the playoffs when the Yankees needed him. He had a couple of hits, but not enough. What was he hitting in the playoffs?
Like 197, I think.
I mean, that's not going to get it done. You're going on a walk here, and the Yankees are looking, hey, do we bring Bellinger back or do we go after Kyle Tucker? You know, if he's available, maybe we go after. I know Kyle Tucker wasn't great in the second half, but he's younger, or a little bit younger, not much younger, but a little bit younger, and to me, a better all-around player than Bellinger. I know you disagree with me, and that's fine, Jabba. That's fine. If you disagree, if Yankee fans disagree with me, that's fine. Disagree with me. I just think that it's selfish for any fan to go after Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone did what he was supposed to do. Now, some of his, moving pitchers around and bringing in relief pitchers in certain innings, there are questions to that. Why did he do that? Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was up top telling him to pull Schlittler like he did in the sixth inning. Now, I thought he did the right move. I thought he made the right move. Now, I don't know if I would have brought Tevin Williams in. That guy I didn't understand. I was thrown off the way they decided to go that route. And everybody's going to say, well, who would you have brought in? Well, that's a good question. That is a really good question. And only if I looked at this situation for what it was, and I really didn't, I probably would have given you an answer. But I'm traveling all day, so I really couldn't have scoped anything out any more than I did. But shame on Yankee fans on social media attacking this man. This man deserves a little bit more credit for what he did, especially in the second half of the season, got this team playing and playing at a high level. This team almost won the division. And I'll tell you this, if the Yankees won the division this year, they beat the Blue Jays. They beat the Blue Jays because it's very, very hard to play in Toronto. Toronto is not an easy place to... By the way, if you look at Toronto's record in the last 5 years, comparable to the Dodgers. And this is the same Blue Jays team that doesn't make the playoffs. In what? They made the playoffs twice in the last 6 years?
22 and 23 they made it, and then 21 they were pretty close. I think they were like a game behind the Yankees.
And if you look at their home record, and in all of baseball, they're in the top 3. They're not easy to beat in Toronto. When you look at the Yankees and you understand what the Yankees have done, and Jabba knows because he's a Yankee, he was a Yankee, and he's won a World Series with the Yankees in 2009. He's seen the greatness of this franchise and what this franchise is known to be. It's embarrassing when you know that the only player the only two players you can lean on throughout this series against the Blue Jays was Aaron Judge and the youngster, Cam Schlittler. That's it. That was the only two guys. Oh, I'm not going to take shots at their. Who's their closer? Who's the Yankees closer? He was great.
Bednar.
Bednar was good too. I'm not gonna take shots at Bednar either. He was great throughout the players. I want to give a shout out to. That was the one move that Brian Cashman made at the trade deadline was a home run. Bednar was sensational. He had a couple of bleeps throughout the season when he came to the Yankees. I think he had a couple of closing positions and eighth inning times that he came in that he wasn't so good. But really throughout the season when he came when the Yankees made the trade and he was a Yankee, he played very, very well. And the Yankees eventually leaned towards him being the closer after all the craziness that the Yankees had like 5 different closers this year. I think it has to be the most the Yankees have started or tried to start closers throughout the season. I don't think I can't remember a Yankee team that had 5 or 6 closers in 1 year, even when Jabba played. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I cannot remember.
Well, nobody had a chance to. Mo was still here.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. Even when Mariano retired and he was gone, there was nobody. They're just. It's just horrible. And the Yankees right now have to figure out what they are as a team. Do they decide that they move forward or move behind with Jazz Chisholm? And I think, to me, he's not a game-winning player. He's not a player. And I know what Jabba's going to say. He's a top 10 player defensively at his position. He's a top 10 offensive player at his position. Good for him. And when the going gets tough, the guy doesn't shut up, and he doesn't play like a Yankee. He doesn't. He opens his mouth too much. I have never, and we've had.
Okay. But I need to ask this, and this bothers me. What does he doesn't play like a Yankee mean? Because I didn't play like a Yankee. Goose Gossett said I didn't play the Yankee way.
First of all, Goose Gossett should not be speaking, and I have my own opinion.
Okay, but that's why I'm asking because I hear this all the time.
I'll explain what a Yankee is. My opinion as a Yankee fan, growing up a Yankee fan, when you cheer for a player, Derek Jeter, Don Mattingly. I'm talking about guys that I looked towards, in my time of being a Yankee fan and watching greatness. Andy Pettitte. Jimmy Key. I loved Jimmy Key when the Yankees brought Jimmy Key in. I loved him. Mike Mussina. All right? And everybody's going to say, well, Mike Mussina never won a championship with the Yankees. Go look at what Mike Mussina did with the New York Yankees when the Yankees signed him. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, and everybody's going to say his Baltimore years were sensational. He was a great pitcher for the New York Yankees. When you look at a Yankee, I mentioned those players. There are other Yankees that I can mention. And if I don't want to hurt any Yankee fans or Yankee players that are listening to the show right now's feelings, I just gave you a few. Those guys, after the game, including Aaron Judge, are not about going out there and speaking about how great he is, how great the team is, what the team should be, what the team's going to be, how great the organization is, and all that other stuff. You just go out there and play. Yankee players do that. Now, I look at guys like you, Jabba. I remember when you played for the Yankees, and you're one of my favorite players. I'm not going to lie to you. I've told you that off air. From 2005 to 2010, 2011, you were my favorite player on the Yankees. I loved your emotion. I loved your personality. I love that when you went out there and you spoke to the media, you never threw anybody under the bus. You were straightforward, and you made sure that you made your team the objective, not yourself. You didn't blame anybody with the midgets, whatever the hell they were. You didn't blame anybody. You didn't blame Joe Torre for not taking you off the mound, even though Joe Torre blamed himself not doing it. You stood for what I believe a Yankee should be. A guy that goes out there and thinks for a team. Thinks not for himself, not thinks for, hey, you know what? I'm going to go out there and make myself look like a jackass. And I'm going to do things and say things that are just absolutely ridiculous. That's the problem with Jazz Chisholm. That is not Yankee-like.